On October 16, 2022, police in Lacey, Washington receive a chilling 911 call.
911, what are you reporting? Hello? Hello?
The call is made via an Apple Watch, and the caller can't seem to answer any of the dispatcher's questions. For good reason. She's been bound and gagged with duct tape.
I'm not going to hang up until help is with you, okay?
But by the time help gets there, it's too late.
Lacey Police Department, if you're inside, make yourself known.
When the cops arrive at the address, the caller and her kidnapper are gone. The only clues are a roll of duct tape and blood spatter on the carpet, and the caller's daughter. She says that her mom was having issues in her personal life, but she never expected those issues could lead her to this, being kidnapped and buried alive with only her Apple Watch to call for help.
She's dead. It's okay. She's dead.
He gets in the fight with somebody, then even though how long ago was, he always do the revenge.
I'll kill you.
The footage you're about to see has never before been released.
And then he poked my both breasts with something sharp. And then at the time, I was able to feel that I was bleeding.
So she
Pause for a second. We're barely a minute into this case, and we've already learned this wasn't just an assault. It appears to have been a carefully planned attempt to make sure there was no survivor. But here's the unbelievable twist. The victim is the one telling the story. How did she escape after being buried alive? Stay with me, because what happens next sounds almost impossible.
Is 53-year-old Chae Kyung-on, her husband, and there's no sign of either of them. With the 911 call providing sufficient welfare concerns, the cops enter the house through the garage. Inside, in the dining room, there's a strip of torn duct tape on the floor and a cell phone left on the table. When the cops call the number associated with the Apple Watch, it rings, and so does another phone found upstairs in one of the bedrooms. They're both Jenny's phones, but Jenny isn't here. In another bedroom, they find more duct tape and bloodstains on the carpet, and the rugs in the hallway have been disturbed, like there was some kind of physical altercation. This is no medical emergency. Something very bad has happened. While they're going through the scene, a young woman arrives. She's Jenny and Chae's 20-year-old daughter. She says they're going through a divorce and that there's a court order in place, but she doesn't know any details. Chae doesn't live here anymore, but he still comes around to do laundry sometimes. And his van was here this morning when she and her mom came back from church. Her mom went inside the house and she drove off to go shopping. She hasn't seen either of her parents since. Based on this information, the cops put out an urgent missing persons release and request a ping for Chae's cell phone. Given the bloodstains, they fear the worst, that Jenny and maybe Chae as well have been murdered. Just after midnight, October 17, 2022, residents of a remote house at the edge of the woods are woken up by frantic banging on their door. They come to open it and they find a visibly injured woman covered in dirt and blood with duct tape around her neck. She pleads with them for help. She says she's just been buried alive. That woman is Jenny. She survived an awful attack. She's taken to the hospital and then to the detectives. And to understand what happened to her, they'll need to start from the very beginning. Jenny's face has been censored to protect her identity.
Are you okay with this being recorded?
이거 녹음되는 게 괜찮습니까? Yes.
Okay.
Jenny and Chae have been married for decades, and they lived between the US and Korea. They have 2 children, aged 20 and 11, and Chae has had a successful career in the military, serving in both the Navy and the Army since 1988. But Jenny says the American dream wasn't working out as they'd planned.
Can you describe or tell me a little bit about your relationship with him?
So we got married. Since we were newlywed, he was really involved in porno, and then he was engaged in chatting with men and women throughout Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights. So after I got birth to my daughter, he left us alone.
When you say that he left you guys alone, do you mean he would physically leave the home or just not bother?
둘 다 집에 있을 때도 방에 들어가서.
So even he was at home, he didn't come out from his room because he was chatting and watching the porno. So with that kind of things, we argued. So about 2 to 3 instances, he left home for 2 to 3 weeks.
Did she know where he went?
연락 안 하고 전혀 몰라.
He didn't tell me. There was no contact, so I don't know.
Once, she says, she saw one of his text messages.
So the text message said, when you come, bring socks or bring something else. So I realized that he has a gay friend.
How do you know it was a gay friend?
그 포르노 남자.
He enjoyed watching gay porn. He collected the photos for men's naked bodies. So when we were in Korea, he went on a business trip to Busan and Daegu. And I learned later on that he invited male friends in his hotel.
로그아웃을 하지 않아서 제가 또 보게 됐어요.
So the chatting, the wording was on the screen, and he forgot to turn it off, so I saw it.
네, 여기 내용이 있고요. 제가
And I have the contents. I had a picture taken on that.
And can I make copies of these?
You copy that? Sure.
These chats were mainly about sex.
And then also talk about me. He doesn't want to do it with me anymore. It's not good.
He was using his work to facilitate his affairs.
My husband invited him to an army base hotel. He escorted him to come there. So the contents of that is in that text.
Okay.
This included a time when he was called back to be stationed in Korea, leaving her with their children in Colorado.
So I learned that my husband went to see his first love and then drive in a long distance several times to do that.
미국 들어와서도 계속 연락을 했고요.
Even after he returned to America, still had contact with that person. And then if you look at the text, there is a promise from him that he said he will return to Korea to his boyfriend.
There were whole swaths of his life he was keeping secret. In 2010, she applied for citizenship, which involves an interview.
성인이 이렇게 물어보고.
So the examiner asked me, your husband was divorced once. Did you know that? And also, did you prepare these documents yourself? 그래서
제가 작성 안 했고요.
I didn't prepare the documents myself.
다 작성한 다음에 노란 봉투에 테이프를 붙여서 이걸 절대 열면 안 돼요.
So my husband prepared the application form for citizenship, and then he put it in an envelope and sealed that. And he said, you never open this envelope. You just give this to the examiner. So the examiner opened the envelope and then read it and then said, do you know your husband was married once?
몰랐어요. 근데 처음 알고 너무
I didn't know.
충격이었어요.
It was the first time I knew, so I was kind of shocked.
He's 11 years older than her. She knew when they started dating that he might have had another life before they met.
So when we were dating, I asked him, because of the age difference, have you ever married before? And he said no.
왜 가족들도 없다고 했었어요.
And even his family said no.
She still doesn't know why they hid his first marriage. And that wasn't the only piece of his past that came back to haunt her.
So even at that time, he still had contact with his first love. So the phone call was very often. So one time, I picked up the phone.
제가 임신 초기였거든요.
That's when I was 12 weeks pregnant. I was trying to pick up the phone, and he blocked me not to do that, and he pushed me against the wall.
그래서 이상한 적도 있어요. 그래서
So because of that, I had a miscarriage. So at that time, I was bleeding, and I went to the hospital.
그 사람은
So he didn't care about my safety or anything like that. He was worried about when the doctor asked what happened at home. He was afraid that I might say the things that happened. He told me, because of you, I almost got fired from my workplace.
Why?
왜 그랬어요?
제가 의사한테 뭐라고 얘기했냐고.
So he asked me, what did you tell the doctor? Did you tell the doctor what happened? 그래서
얘기하지
뭐라고?
않았거든요.
I didn't say anything to the doctor.
It was the first time she was afraid of her husband, but it wouldn't be the last. So when she found the texts, it felt like the last straw.
So at that time, I decided that we cannot go on like this. So I decided to get divorced. At that time, my second child was young, and I don't have any financial means.
She needed time to gather the resources she needed to leave him, but divorce was always on her mind.
We live in the same house, but you do your thing, I do my thing. It's separate. So my married life is always lonely and it's not healthy.
On August 28, 2021, a year before that fateful day in October, they were arguing in the garage.
What started the argument?
이혼 얘기가 나와서
So we're talking about a divorce. I said I cannot go on this anymore. At that time, I saw someone. So when I was in that time of domestic violence and things like that, that person helped me out. So we were arguing, and my cell phone is on the floor. And then with an axe, he was trying to smash my cell phone. And at that point, I opened the garage door. So he was holding an axe. I was scared.
열었고
So I opened it,
앞집들에 카메라가 있는 걸 알아.
and I realized that the other people in front of my house, they have a camera. So I thought if I open the garage door, he will stop. And he did.
Just like with the miscarriage, he was terrified that she'd get the authorities involved in their marriage. But this time, she didn't keep her mouth shut. She told the cops.
So he grabbed me and then he pushed me to the floor.
쓰러졌는데 지금
So I fell.
진짜 끌고 다니고
And then he grabbed on my ankles and dragged me.
제 핸드폰을 그러고 나서
So since that time on, I hid my cell phone and I used my daughter's cell phone and then called the police.
I see you have some photos here.
그날
What are
생각을
these?
These are the scars happened on that day. And this is the statement on that day. So my husband told our daughter, if you don't write this statement, I'll go to jail. So from the beginning up until here, my daughter wrote it. And from this on, he wrote it.
무서워서 써줄 수밖에 없었대.
And my daughter told me that she was scared. So she had to write this statement.
He made their daughter defend him, but he couldn't do the same to Jenny.
Several times he insists that I sign the statement that he wrote and send it to the attorney.
저는 전혀 쓰지 않았고 사인해서 보내지도 않았어요.
I didn't write any statement. I didn't sign this letter because I know this is a lie and he wants to use it against me. He sent me several emails to sign this letter, but I refused.
Their marriage was over in all but name, but it had never been the most perfect to start with. Since the beginning, they'd slept in separate rooms, and he'd made it clear they should each live their own lives.
That's what he told me. I will live my own life, so don't worry about me. So you do your life.
So with divorce on the horizon and a no-contact order in place after the August attack, she started living her own life as well. She went out on dates, and she met someone who became her boyfriend.
How did your husband feel about you dating?
나는 되지만 너는 안 돼.
He said, it's okay with me, but you cannot do that.
이제 화를 냈고
And he was mad.
I mean, it was okay for him to do that, but not for you to do that?
Correct. So he was pretty upset that I had a boyfriend. And he went to see my boyfriend and threatened him.
Where did that happen?
찾아갔어요 이 사람을.
My husband went to my boyfriend's place.
What did he threaten him with?
헤어지라고 해.
Don't ever see my wife and don't see her. And then he also told my boyfriend that I will let your family know about it, and also I will tell about this to your workplace.
Che's behavior was becoming more and more unhinged.
When you and your husband would argue about a divorce, did he make you feel fearful or threaten you at any time about the divorce or not?
Yeah.
항상 그랬어요.
Yes, always.
Did he argue about what he would do with his retirement money or any other money?
So he said, if I give you retirement money, I'll kill you, I'll kill you.
He said, if I have to give you retirement money,
Yes.
if I have to give you retirement money, I'll kill you.
내가 너한테 돈 줘야만 한다면 죽이겠다. Yes. After that instant, I decided to get a divorce from him.
그런 말들을 했고요.
So at that time he said that.
그리고 자기가
And then he said, after he discharged from the army, and then I will wait and see. And he was threatening me.
In June 2022, she found a divorce lawyer, someone who'd made sure any settlement treated her fairly.
So while I was not at home, he came in and he removed the door to the rooms and he threw them away. And he kept on harassing me.
돈을 포기하라고 자기 재산을
And he threatened me to give up his wealth.
When you say give up, like not claim it,
So those are all my money. I don't do the division of wealth. And he said he will not pay the mortgage so that we'll be kicked out of this house.
On June 6th, he threatened to kill himself.
And he said he was ready to die. He said, I'll die.
It escalated into September.
And then he also told me I have to repay his mom the money I borrowed from, which was like $150,000.
빌린 적 없어요.
I've never borrowed money from his mom.
He was not even close with his family. Jenny says he cut ties with them 12 years ago now.
Did his family know that he was bisexual?
모르고 있어요.
No.
Would that be acceptable either in their family or culturally?
아빠가 그랬지.
No, not accepted. So it's a secret.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's a secret with his family.
With his wife and children slipping out of his grasp, Che was growing increasingly desperate, and he was fixated on the money.
So prior to October 16th, he came to home, in and out, to pick up the documents and pick up some of his belongings.
제가 오늘 일 끝나고 집에 왔고
So one day I came back from work and I saw in our room the closet and the drawers are like upside down. So in my room I have an expensive bag, Chanel, which was gone.
This was October 11th.
So he blocked all credit cards. So I didn't have anything, so I have some emergency money in the room,
2,000불을 가지고 갔더라고요.
which was $2,000. So he took my bag and $2,000. At first, I thought we had some burglar in my house, so I called the police.
Okay. 근데 나중에 알았어요. 남편일 수도 있겠다.
But later on, I realized it can be my husband too. So I called my husband. He didn't answer the phone. So I asked my daughter to call him.
제가 딸 전.
I used my daughter's cell phone. And then he answered the phone. And I asked him, why did you steal this from me? He said, it's up to me.
it's what?
It's up to me what I do.
By that point, she knew he'd go to any lengths.
And I studied how to operate this watch.
남편이 저를 언제든지 다치거나 죽일 수도 있겠다는
I
두려움이
thought I was scared. My husband can kill me anytime. So I learned how to operate this watch. I was prepared.
She knew the no-contact order might not be enough, and she was right. On October 16th, she came back home from church with her daughter to find Che's van in her driveway. He was waiting for her in the house. She sent her daughter away and came in to talk to him about practical things like custody and child support.
And my husband started bringing up the past issue that we had in between the family and started complaining, and then it became an argument.
She told him she didn't want him coming to the house again.
I came to my room and then I heard the garage door is open and closed, and I heard his step the steps were very fast, and then suddenly he came to the room and then started hitting my face and my head, and then I fell down. And he came to me, who was fallen on the ground. He told me that I will kill you, I don't need anything, and then he was pushing me with his weight, and he was trying to grab my both hand, and I was trying to get out of it, and then I told him don't do this, and then stop, and then I begged. After that, he duct taped my ankle together, and then he duct taped my thigh together. After that, he duct taped my mouth with my head all together, and then he also put the duct tape on my eyes so that I cannot see.
He left her alone to open his van. This was her one window to get help, and she took it, using her Apple Watch to call 911 and send out emergency contact notifications. When he came back, he realized what she'd done.
This tiny decision changed everything. In criminal investigations, even a few seconds can determine whether a suspect gets away with murder or spends years behind bars. That Apple Watch emergency call created a digital trail investigators could follow. If she hadn't acted in that exact moment, this case might have become a missing person mystery instead of a survival story.
His van, and then drove out into the woods. They likely drove right past the officers responding to her address. Too little, too late.
And then after that, I wasn't sure how far I was from him, but I could hear that he was digging the ground. After for some time, and he started dragging me. And when he was dragging me, my blouse and then underwear was all rolled up because he was dragging me, and he was swearing me, and then he poked my both breast with something sharp, and then at the time I was able to feel that I was bleeding. After that, I was able to hear that he was covering up with something. Later on, I was able to find out that there was a woods, but then at the time I was able to hear some heavy sound. I was able to feel that maybe he's covering up this hole with something heavy. After that, he was starting to throwing the dirt over me inside of the hole and ditch. He was pouring the soil.
It was all she could do to keep trying to breathe.
And then, well, she said she was trying not to submerge her head inside of the soil so that she can breathe. And after that, after he put all the soils for a while, I heard he was turning on the car. And then after that, he turned off the car right away, and I could hear his steps near where I was dug in, and I was able to hear his steps that he walks around over me.
So he buried me in the ground and make sure that I was dead, and then kind of fill out my feet and other places, and then said she's dead. It's okay. She's dead.
You verbalized it?
그 사람이 말했다 이거죠? Yes.
Did he say she's dead out loud or to someone?
죽었다고 크게 말했으니 혼자 죽어버렸습니다. Yeah. He talked himself.
Okay.
Then she heard his footsteps moving away. He got in the van and sat there, leaving her for dead. But she wasn't dead.
At the time, I was very difficult breathing, and then under the ground, I was very cold. But then I was thinking about my kids, and then I had the will to survive from the situation, thinking about my kids.
She managed to claw herself free of the duct tape.
At the time, I think I figured out that his car wasn't very far from the hole that I was digged in, and I didn't want him to know that I was alive and then I was off of the tape. I was afraid that he would find out, so I was staying still and quiet until it was dark.
When it was dark, she could see that there was a light in the van, but the windows had fogged up. Hoping Jay was asleep, she climbed out of the hole and ran away through the woods.
For a long time alongside the road, I was running away, and then suddenly I was able to see a light from my house. Then I went up to their driveway and then rang the bell. I asked for help. My husband is trying to kill. He used to say often that he will kill me when he was angry. And he also said when we were getting divorced, he said, I would rather kill you than giving you my retirement money. When he was arguing, he used to say he will kill me, but then I didn't know he will really do that in a real life. I cannot believe it is very scary. I cannot believe he did this. I'm very scared.
What doesn't come across in the interpreter's voice is Jenny's own grief and fear. She's crying as she tells this story. The man she loved and moved across the world with made a plan to kill her, and he nearly succeeded.
That's how I felt after living with him for 20 years. And then also his family told me that especially his sister, told me that, so for example, he gets in the fight with somebody, then even though how long it passed or how long ago was, he always do the revenge. That's the most worrying part for me, because I should have died with as he's planned. However, I survived from this, escaped from the situation, and then he got cut. So that's why I'm worried the most.
Luckily for Jenny, the cops catch up with him. At around 7:30 a.m. on October 17th, a suspicious vehicle is spotted on the Chehalis Western Trail. About a mile away from the house Jenny came to pleading for help the night before. It matches the description of Che's van. The cops respond to the location and find it with the engine running and Che dozing inside. They take him into custody without resistance. He has an apparent injury to his hand, so he's taken first to the hospital. Meanwhile, officers search the surrounding woods. They find an area just as Jenny had described, a clearing with downed trees. There, they find a hole in the ground, with tree limbs placed on top to hide it. Inside the hole, there are torn strips of duct tape matching those in Jenny's house. This hole was intended to be her grave. Searching Che's van, the chilling discoveries don't stop. They find a blood-stained pillowcase, a hatchet in a plastic bag, and a bladed utility tool. There are also multiple documents, including the divorce papers and travel arrangements for a flight to Miami on November 17th. Did he intend to flee to Florida, or did he plan something worse? Because the officers also find a torn, handwritten note addressed to his children. It reads, "I'm so sorry that it came down to this. Sorry that we caused you guys so much pain and suffering since you were born. I didn't want to do this, but I felt trapped. I truly don't want to live anymore. When you guys were born, those were the happiest days of my life, and it was awesome being your dad and spending time together. I love you guys so much. I hope that you have a better life than we did. Thank you for being my daughter and son. Goodbye, Dad." Was he planning a murder-suicide? If he was, he won't tell the detectives.
Mr. On is here with us. Mr. On, can you hear us?
Yes.
And are you aware this is being recorded? Okay, so, because you're obviously not free to leave, and before we ask any additional questions, I'm gonna read you your rights.
Naturally, right? So when we speak to folks, we want to try to learn as much as we can about them, right? So, you served in the military? Yes?
I have to take fifth.
So you have to speak up.
I have to take fifth.
You're something about 5/5?
Yes.
So the 5th. And so are you saying that you do not wish to speak to us?
Yes.
You don't want to speak to us?
No.
Okay.
He takes the 5th, the right against self-incrimination, and refuses to talk. But there's plenty of evidence against him. A neighbor's CCTV camera captures him getting into his van and pulling into the garage right around the time of the 911 call. His own daughter identified the man seen here as Che, and those who know the couple had damning things to say as well.
Friend described that there was a history of domestic violence and that the male half, Che, had been arrested last year for domestic violence, and upon that arrest, he had made comments to something along the lines that if he's not going down alone and that he's taking her with her.
At his bail hearing, Jenny passes along a desperate statement.
These are her words. "Please, no bail. I am really afraid for my life. I just want to emphasize that I fear him so much, and he will kill me again. if he is out.
Accordingly, bail is denied, and ultimately he pleads guilty to attempted murder. He claims that PTSD from his 30-year-long military career led to a mental break, but the campaign of controlling, abusive behavior would suggest otherwise. As he made a statement in court, Jenny started to have trouble breathing, needing to be attended by paramedics. Che is sentenced to nearly 14 years in prison, the maximum sentence for his crime. When he's released, he'll not be able to own a firearm, and he's forbidden from contacting his wife, who will suffer the scars of what he did to her for the rest of her life.